Hey guys, Nuzzle here and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be giving a matchup for every single character within Jujutsu High and Jujutsu Kaisen. This will be in both schools, by the way, not just the one that, the main characters go to in Tokyo. So, if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to like, subscribe, and let's get started off with number 1, Hikari versus Kite from Hunter x Hunter. There are two male anime characters who trained under two of the strongest people within their series, and are two of the strongest pupils they ever had, being Jing and Gojo. Both of their abilities are centered around luck, which can either go wrong or right depending on chance. Both of them were also much stronger when they met the much younger main character when they initially met. Also, they both lose an arm but get it back somehow, with Hikari regenerating it and Kite having it stitched back on when he's a corpse. They contrast with Hikari hating the higher-ups, while Kite is closely tied to the higher-ups within his verse. Honestly, I quite like it. It's not my favourite for Kite, but it's alright. Pretty sure Hikari wins though. Number 2. Kiara Hoshi versus Haku from Naruto. They are two feminine males who fight the Deuterogonists from a powerful clan of their series. They also both care a lot about one specific person, being Hikari and Zabuza. It's not much, but I was grasping at straws for this one, I won't lie. Next is Camel versus Hawkeye from Marvel Comics. They are two male characters who are calm and stoic, with complicated family history, being abandoned by them and having to find new families. They are both archers and are strong leaders, with one specific person who they respect, being Toto and Captain America, and they also both fight the main characters at some point. Number 4, I do really like Toto versus Tengen Uzui, but I also really like this one I picked for him, and it's Toto versus JoJo Kujo. They are two anime delinquents with supernatural powers with frightening levels of strength, with the ability to allow them to teleport to another place within an instant with JoJo's time stop and Toto's boogie wiggy. Despite both being delinquents, they're both into unfitting things, such as JoJo liking marine biology and Toto being into pop girls. Or pop idols, rather. They also both have an knack for finding their opponent's weaknesses, are incredibly intelligent, and both have a distinctive marking on them, being JoJo's star birthmark and Toto's eye scar. Number 5, Momo Nishima versus Sol Marin from Black Clover. They are female sorcerers from a modern shonen who also have a disdain for men due to personal experience, with Sol being attacked by a group of men when she was a child, and also female sorcerers also face more expectations than males, especially for their appearance, which also make them look after women as well. They idolise a female character who they are close with and see them as an inspiration, being Charlotte and Mai. They fight both using elements, being earth and wind. They contrast with Sol being hot-headed and loud, while Momo is calm and reserved. In a fight as well, Sol would always rush in without a strategy, while Momo would stay away from her opponent and wait for an opening. Generally, I think it's quite good for such a nothing character, I'll be honest. Number 6, Mai Zenin versus Guido Mista from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. They're two anime gunslingers who have strange abilities which can allow them to affect their bullets, being able to change the direction of their bullets and enhance their strengths. They're also both part of small groups and have fought members of an opposing team. It's not great, but there is only one other matchup that works for Mai, and it's a matchup that's going to come up later on in the video, so I'll save that. For number 7, Kokichi Muta versus Robots. They are both two disfigured people who use a robot as their main body, then later make a deal with two villains in order to get a new body, and then double-cross said villain. It's oddly specific, so I think it makes it pretty good, but yeah, there's not much to it. Number 8, Kasumi Miwa versus Kobani from Chainsaw Man. There are two female characters from Yuji animes that are often compared. They're both touted as useless due to them being massively outclassed by everyone else around them, but are still fan favourites. They both also wield a bladed weapon and also have a similar personality, generally quite vibes. Number 9, Maki Zenin versus Genya from Demon Slayer. They are two younger anime siblings who hunt and kill regenerated monsters, however are unique as they do not have access to the main power systems within their respective stories, being cursed energy and total concentration breathing. They both have family problems, however perfectly contrast with each other while also being similar. Genya's family all died when he was little apart from his brother, who he wanted to apologise to for the rest of his life and eventually made amends with him. Maki meanwhile was hated by all of her family to the point where she killed them all, only managing to have a good relationship with her sister, which in the end further contrasts with Mai dying and Genya dies as well. I do prefer this over Genya versus Mei because it works better, which works better because, in my opinion, it works better from the point of view of them not having the powers within the respective stories, whereas, Mai Zenin does have that, so, I do prefer Genya versus Maki, although I will say Genya and Sanemi versus Maki and Mai would be an absolutely crazy fight, I think. It's not debatable whatsoever, sadly, especially after the buff that Maki got in the manga, but yeah, It is what it is. Number 10, Toga versus Shinzo from My Hero Academia. They're two quiet male anime characters from New Gen series who attend a school which is meant to develop and boost their fighting potential and develop their powers. Both Toga and Shinzo have unique powers which are revolved around their speech, which is pretty OP given the right circumstances. I think this is actually quite debatable, but I mean, I don't know, maybe I will make it a video at some point. Number 11, Panda versus Pangoro. They are angry punching pandas. I don't know what you want from me here. It works. Number 12, there is Yuta versus Asa from Chainsaw Man, which I don't really like, but the one I went with was Yuta versus Kamen Rider Revenants, which I have just realised in the Google Doc here, I've not copy and pasted the connections here for me to say them out loud, but if you want the connections or other good Yuta matchups, I highly suggest checking out the video where I go over a matchup for every special grade sorcerer, and that'll be in the top right, and also in the description below. Number 13, there is Nobra versus Polnareff, which I quite like, but for this one, for Nobara, I went for Nobra versus Ino from Naruto. There are two girls that are beautiful, confident, bold, outspoken, temperamental. I can get quite easily pissed off at things if they don't go their way, making them almost the perfect example of the popular girl trope. Almost, because besides that, they are still very friendly and caring for their companions. They're also both part of a trio of teenagers who together learn and to be a part of a profession which is attended by people with supernatural abilities. Their companions in the trios are also strategists with powers over shadows, being Megami and Shikamaru, and a more happy, tough, dumb type of guy which gets stronger by eating, being Itadori and Joji. Finally ending up with their more laid-back but strong teacher, being Gojo and Asuma. They also both have very technical main abilities, which need some tough teamwork to be used in the most efficient way, which I think generally quite vibes. Although Nobra versus Kid Sakura also quite works as well with this as too. Number 14, Megami versus Aki from Chainsaw Man. They're two dark-haired male anime and manga characters, both part of a new gen series and are swordsmen. They're both part of a group of three, including a main character who has a demon inside of him and a very loudmouth girl. They're both the serious ones within the group with tragic backstories revolving their families. They're also both part of an organisation which hunts devils / cursed spirits, which also share connections. They both fight with dogs made up of cursed energy / devils, and eventually end up becoming a devil / the cursed spirit in some way, with Aki being turned into a gun devil fiend and Megami becoming Sukuna's new vessel, which forces them to fight the main character and who also shares connections, being Yuji and Denji, and it generally just vibes a lot. Depending on what happens in the new Jujutsu Kaisen chapters, this could also add a further connection of if Yuji is the one to take down Megami and Sukuna, as Denji was the one who killed Aki when he became the gun fiend, so yeah, it could have more connections in the future. And finally, number 15, there is Yuji versus Denji, which I have criticised in the past, and some people have misconstrued my criticisms, but you know, that's on them. But I do think it's very good all, and I think it's my second favourite for Yuji. But my favourite for Yuji Todori is Yuji versus Naruto from Naruto Part 1. There are two happy-go-lucky main characters with popular animes who have a demon inside of them. This demon can come out of them and heavily influence or outright control them both, which makes them a liability. They also both have supernatural mental worlds within them, which they can go and approach the two demons as well. They're also both part of a group of three involving a dark-haired Deuteragonist from a clan and a sassy yet strong girl. They also both have two of the strongest mentors in the entire series who share a bunch of connections between themselves, being Gojo and Kakashi, but despite that are known for having one specific mentor despite having multiple. They also both attend a school which helps them develop their fighting techniques and spar among fellow students. Due to them both being so much more powerful yet being able to uncontrol themselves in their devil states, they try and get stronger so they don't have to try and rely on that power anymore. If you use adult Naruto, you can also use a connection of them both eventually losing the demons inside of them as well. If you don't think you're allowed to use characters that are only using one part of their story, then obviously Naruto doesn't really work here, so you can replace him with Denji. It still quite works in my opinion, and I do also really like Team 7 versus Itadori, Megami, and Nobra as well. It generally does really vibe and actually has a fair amount of connections, and I probably will do it soon as well. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.